Look, your chest is one of the most important muscles you will probably ever train in your life. Chest is a unique muscle, especially in the gym, because the chest is known to be the most fun muscle to train. First of all, you know, everyone loves their chest days. Chest days is kind of like the opposite of leg day, where you want to train chest day and you don't want to train leg day. That's kind of just a stereotype in the world out there, but the message I'm trying to proclaim is that training chest is pretty goddamn important, and you should want to make your chest as big as possible. And that's what this video is about. For me personally, chest has been different for me than how it has been for like people that I know. And a lot of the tips I'm going to be given on how to grow your chest in this video, if you didn't know what the video was, that's the video. A lot of the tips will be coming from my own personal experience as well, but that just makes it even better, because my perspectives are formed out of mostly logic and reasoning and research, right? Like, pretty much nowadays, with so much information available, you can literally just watch probably some recent Renaissance periodization videos about Mike Israetel interviewing some scientist about a new breakthrough and learn about the methods of training. But if you don't want to do all that, and if you don't want to look at that study that they quoted or whatever, and if you don't want to do all that, you just want to, in a simple short form video, this is the video for you. All right, so look, so that's where most of my knowledge comes from, but sprinkled in is also my own knowledge from my own personal experience, and my own personal experience training my brothers and my sisters and my cousins and my friends, so take everything I say, not like a grain of sand, but like a boulder on your shoulder. All right, so let's just get straight into it. Chest for me, ever since I was little, ever since I started the gym, chest is one of my muscles that kind of grew pretty quick. If you have never gone to the gym before and you don't do any physical exercises, if you're not an athlete, if you don't do any martial art or no sport or no anything, and there's not much shame in that anymore, because although there should be, because it's so normalized, but you most likely don't have a chest. Okay, you look like, it's hard to look like you have actual pecs. That comes with muscle maturity, and that comes with time. But chest, for me at least, was one of those muscles, if not my first ever muscle. Chest, triceps, somewhere around there. Those two muscles really just kind of poked out and looked like actual, muscles, instead of just like muscles kind of surrounded by fat and covered and outlined in fat, you know what I mean? Chest was one of those muscles just kind of poked out. I used to always get sore on chest, and obviously being sore isn't a sign that your muscle is going to grow, but it is a decent indicator that you went pretty hard on it, and chances are you will grow. Okay, so if you are ever sore, just chances are you will grow. Now, ever since I was back in the days when I started doing chest, I did do a lot of volume on it, and obviously volume is something that's different for a lot of people, depending on how your genetics are and how you just like to train. But for me, I used to do a lot of high set stuff, high volume stuff on everything, including chest. And my chest used to be way sore than every other muscle, I'm pretty sure. But sore or not, even now my chest is growing at a more increasing rate and a more noticeable rate than I'd say. It's a lot more fuller than my previous pictures, and it's pretty easy to tell. So for me, training chest has always come fairly easily, but there are different ways and methods that I've trained it to specifically cater it to look bigger than it should be at its current strength level. I do most of the incline stuff and mostly stretching stuff. I try not to go like flat too much with the barbell. I do that like 2 sets, 4 to 6 sets a week of flat pressing only, and then everything else is incline or like a pec deck or something like that. This is just so that I don't develop too much of a lower pec, and I want to emphasize that upper pec. That's why my favorite chest exercise is the incline dumbbell press, which I'm going to get to in a second here. But when building your chest, I specifically focus on strength and overall size with my with the bench press, with the flat bench press, and also the any type of fly or pec deck, right? But my main grower was the incline dumbbell press. Okay, this now obviously since it's inclined, it will emphasize the upper chest more, and you want to emphasize that upper chest, because if you just grow your lower chest, you're gonna look like Andrew Tate. It's just not gonna look good. I'm gonna put a picture here of how you'll look, but it's just not gonna look that good. But once you get that upper chest, that upper deck, and you stand up, your chest will poke out like Arnold, like here in this picture, or Superman in this picture. Your chest will poke out, and from the side angle, front angle, every angle possible, that front chest is what's going to give you that real definition and size. Okay, and also there's a lot more. I find it easier for the striations to come out on the upper chest as well. And once you start growing your upper chest, you can control your whole damn chest, your pecs, jiggle them around however you please. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, you want to emphasize the upper chest. And some people have the misconception that just because you do incline, you emphasize more of the upper chest but less of the lower chest. That's actually not true. You emphasize the whole thing the exact amount. You just train your upper chest more. So you can think of it as being something similar to along the lines of training your chest at an inclined angle is the correct way to train your chest. And if you don't do it at an inclined angle, you're most likely not training your chest to its maximum capacity. Because all you're doing by making it from incline to flat is not using your upper chest, but using your lower chest the exact same amount. Okay, so you want to emphasize a lot of the incline stuff. With volume, I'd say you want to go anywhere from 8 to 16 sets per week. So that's either 4 sets per day or 8 sets per day, and twice a week you want to train it. Now, those are the optimal numbers, but why is because if you're a beginner, or if you're experienced but this is your specific style of training, then you can do 8 reps a week. Okay, so 4 reps every day, twice a week. Okay, 8 reps a week, 8 sets a week. That's your volume. Why? Is because mostly I'd recommend this for beginners, because beginners don't need a lot of volume, and you don't want to over volume yourself. You don't want to overtrain, right? You hit your limit way faster as a beginner. You need a lot more work or a decent amount more volume and obviously power and progressive overload to fully fatigue your chest when you're not so much of a beginner. So for a beginner, 4 sets a day, 2 sets over there, 2 sets over there, 2 exercises, you're chilling, or 3 sets, whatever, right? However, I also recommend this for some experienced lifters, because let's say you're doing 2 sets of super, super heavy bench press and then 2 sets of super, super, super heavy incline, where you can only get 3 to 6 reps on each, right? They're super heavy. Those are extremely taxing on your mental and physical, nervous system, I guess you could say. That will fatigue the shit out of your nervous system. You're promoting strength, you're promoting growth. So overall, if you're gonna fatigue yourself to such a high degree when it comes to your nervous system, you could do only 4 and probably get away with it. And especially if you're doing that style of training, you're probably doing strength emphasized training anyways, and not emphasizing too much on hypertrophy. So you're good with that. Other than that, though, I would recommend more reps than that, more sets than that if you're not a beginner. If you aren't a beginner, I would recommend definitely 12 sets plus, which is 6 sets a day, twice a week. So 12 sets a week minimum, I would say. When it comes to chest or any exercise, no one has actually found where the bell curve actually goes down. So for all we know, for any exercise and any muscle, 25 sets and up is you're still going to get more gains twice a week, right? So 25 sets a week, you're still going to get gains, and there are diminishing returns, obviously. At the 16-ish set mark, the results you get from adding more, it's probably not worth the energy that you're expending and the fatigue you're giving your own body. But 16 is about the perfect spot where that's like the upper limit. So whatever you feel comfortable with. If you're medium to beginner to getting started into it, or slightly advanced as well, what I would recommend to you is choose 2 chest exercises per chest day, and you do 2 chest days a week, right? Let's say you do something like a push-pull leg split. On your push days, you have 2 push days a week, and just do 2 different chest exercises of your choice. and do 3 sets each. And that'll be 6 sets for the day and 12 sets for the week, once you do it twice a week. And what that will allow you to do is, you're at a baseline of 12 sets now. And look for a week or two and see how your strength is, how you feel, how you're feeling overall, how it's growing. Look in the mirror, look at your scale. And then if you feel strong and you think you can do more, bump it to 14 a week, Instead of doing 2 exercises of chest per chest day, add 3. Add one more set of the same exercises, or add another exercise and just do 1 more set. Total, that'll be 7 sets each day, 14 sets a week, and see how your body performs after that. Okay, see how you handle it. If you are still progressing, that's not enough volume for you, or that's the perfect amount of volume for you for that time. So stick with that for 1 or 2 weeks. So this is how you progressively overload. Now keep doing this until you get to, maybe you'll try to get to 16 next time, and it'll be too much for you. You'll feel tired, right? Just go back to 14 or try 15 now, a week. And that's how you find almost your perfect spot of sets. Now, eventually, once you get to that 14, 15, 16 set range, you don't want to really do too many more sets. So instead, you should eventually try to increase your weight over time, slowly over time. So let's say you do 16 per week now, right? So every chest day, you do 8 different sets of a chest exercise. So we can do 3 exercises, 3 sets for the first 2 exercises, and then 2 sets for the last exercise. You don't want to add more sets. You just want to add either reps now or add weight, okay, to whatever weight you're doing, and just progress like that. The sets you can put wherever you want. You got to test it yourself. Really, that's really a personal thing. You can't search that up. You can't find that in any study for the most part. It's something where you have to almost test out yourself, starting from 12 and going upwards. And trust me, that testing isn't a waste, because you're progressively overloading as you're doing that. Those 2 weeks after you switch from 12 to 14 sets per week, you're still going to be growing because you're doing more sets than you're doing the 2 weeks prior. So it's a flawless progressive overloading plan for strength and hypertrophy, which is muscle growth. But other than that, for sets, you want to experiment on your own. But for reps, I'd recommend anywhere from 6 to 12 reps. 6 to 8 on the more compound exercises, and 8 to 12 on the more, fly-like exercises. But you can even bump it up to 16 or 20 reps if you really want. And stick around the same rep range. And once you get to, let's say, 12 reps of a 8 to 12 set exercise, if you can do 12 reps on the first heaviest set every single time or whatever, on the heaviest set of that exercise, if you can do 12 reps, which is your maximum that you set yourself personally, let's say, for example, now what you can do is up the weight until you can only do 8 reps again with it, and then go back up to 12. Okay, and then keep repeating this process until you're jacked. It's like almost like a pattern recognition, mechanical, mathematical process of getting jacked. Okay, it's more simple than people think. That's sets, reps, that's volume explained for chest. Other than that, the only really thing I gotta say is, prioritize your upper chest, choose exercises. In my personal opinion, there's a few exercises, let's say, I'm gonna give my top 5 here, that are the best for chest. So this video will almost be like a full-on chest breakdown. I'll probably do this for every single muscle in the future, hopefully, and I'll keep updating it, like maybe once a year or so that everything is up to par with the new information that's out. The top 5 exercises. The number 1 exercise is the incline dumbbell press. It's just the best. It is just the best. Maybe it's just for me, but when it comes to progressively overloading, when it comes to the strength curve, when it comes to everything, it is just the best. Injury prevention, it's not even that injurious. It's less injurious than the barbell press, because the barbell bench, you can tear your pec easier on that. There's less mobility. Also though, your ability to progressively overload and all of that is great as well. But what people sometimes dislike about the incline dumbbell press is that, a lot of people don't like having great form on it. But my rebuttal to that is, I don't give a damn if you have great form. Even shit form incline dumbbell press is probably better than 99% of chest exercises out there. So just do the incline dumbbell press, all right? Trust me. Incline barbell. Incline barbell has got to be the best. Now, I personally would use a Smith machine. That's just for the stability. Incline barbell press is definitely the second place. It's definitely up there. After that, I'd say any type of fly that you personally like. Low to up fly, or up to low fly, or it could be a pec deck that has a good, you know, shoulder ratio so that you're not hunching too much and you're using most of your chest. Any fly variation of that sort. After that, my go-to would be any sort of incline chest press machine. And then after that, I'd say any sort of normal chest press that goes from out to in, okay? And for the incline chest press machine, I also prefer that. So those are the top 5. Well, I'm gonna hopefully put a picture of each when I edit the video. But yeah, that's pretty much it.